Hey guys, this is Kirob speaking, and today we are back on my desktop background, and we are taking a look at the very last episode of the judging of our Lowitech Sports Design and Photo Competition. And it's the Deimos that is up, the second part of it. Another 8 cars to take a look at. And here I've already brought up the first competitor, Micon P7. What have you created for us, good sir? That is a car. And where's the image? There's the image. Okay, good. This is a car and it has a design, and we shall take a look and judge it. Do we still have shit brown? Yes, that's not workable, sorry. I need my fancy green and not that big a blob. Alright, that's much better. I'm so prepared. Perfect. Blinkers, yes. Okay, that's a blinker. Okay, design. First impression, this is quite unique. I like these headlights a lot. They are odd looking, but good looking. That's not bad. I imagine them come out like cannon barrels from the opening that they pop-up headlights are. And or they are always out, but this looks like it's some mechanism in there that folds them in. Would be much cooler though if they just shot out and got into this position linearly like this instead of just folding down into it. Well, other than that, we can't really say that much. I think the setup here, the grills or the vents used at the side, well, in the middle, towards the middle, very nice touch. Looks more modern than 80s though. I don't think this is an 80s move. This is more something you would expect from the times of the Enzo. But other than that, I quite like the design. But I like this too. This is great. It just doesn't seem quite error correct. Also, the blinker being here is it an odd choice? You already have one there, so you don't need one for the front. This one will be visible from both front and side. I probably would have expected it over there. And you don't have any badging there either. You don't have anything that is kind of lining the car in either of these directions. The bottom here, is that deliberate? Maybe it is. It does look good, so it's fine. Other than that, yeah, I mean, the picture focuses on the front so much. I like it in general. I think this is a good design. Is it? I'm a little disappointed in the sides, but I think with what you're trying to do, although it's not quite error correct, it feels too modern in some aspects. But still, I think this is worth a 6 for the oddities you managed to get in here without failing. So now for the picture. Well, it's a picture of the front of the car. It's quite nicely put in the scene. I like the positioning of the tire and the direction and everything that's going on. The sharpness is there. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, lighting is good. But it's not a shot that wows me in any way. It's just all around solid, but nothing fancy. So what I'm going to say is that it's exactly that. It's solid. It's a 5. And next up is an Alfa. Let's F-U as well. Zoom in. We have a bit of a chase going on here. Let's take a look at the design. Hood scoop. Yeah, kind of works. A slightly rounded headlights. Works with the car design in general. The two-tone in this instance makes it look a bit like a boat. I don't know what it is, but especially the front one really looks boaty to me. But solid otherwise. And you have everything in place you need. Are there windscreen wipers? They're kind of hard to see. Yes, there are. Definitely are. So that's all good. And I have very little to say about this one. Seems solid all around. Not spectacular, but solid. So it's a 5. And the image. Alright, lighting. Okay. Lighting, yes. I had just seen this. like, this top half seemed, on first look, very empty to me. There's nothing to see there, all the action is down here, I don't even have to look. And seeing what there actually is, I don't know if you can tell from looking at your screen, but you can see the road just meandering through here and going off in the distance. That is a friggin' beautiful scene, but it's not well lit. So, it doesn't add to what is happening, because there's too little of it being visible. Other than that, you have very strong framing by the white lines, and I think I like the setup of the cars, of the car chase. They are also heading into the wall of dicks, which is right in front of them, right just off the screen there, as we've discussed many times. So what I think I would have liked to see is have this whole setup of cars move back slightly so that there's a bit more breathing room there, or you recompose, you cut it off there and give it some more breathing room down at the bottom. You don't even have to cut off there, you could cut off something like this distance. I think that would suffice, and add it at the bottom. The lighting is very good, otherwise, on the cars, not speaking of the background. On the cars, I like the colors, I like the focus, just general sense of speed, not really there, it looks static, for the most part, slightly too static. I would have liked to see some blur going this direction, just a hint. Maybe this is what you've done? I can't really tell. Anyway, so there are ways to, you could have made this image better, but I still think it has a lot of potential in it. You could have done that a bit better, but it certainly isn't just a bland shot. So I shall give it a seal of approval in that I give it a 6, a good. And next up is OME. Let's have a look at the golden one. Oh yes, the golden one. Okay, front. Yeah, interesting stack you have going there, especially with these imagined being up. I think this will look quite imposing. I like the inset of the vents right there. Badging is good. With the long bonnet, I think this is a good choice to have something there. Yes. I'm looking at them and just thinking like, if I look at them for a few seconds longer, do I change my mind? Kerob, have you changed your mind yet? Kerob? So no, I haven't changed my mind. I think this is a good choice. Very long bonnet, there needs to be something on there, and with the highlighting going on, that kind of works. Otherwise, very solid in design. I like the streaks along the sides, the inset blinkers front and side, the wing in the back, and the 3 little vents. Repeating the concept of 3. And here you have a stack of 3 as well. So that seems to be a theme going on here, which I appreciate. And overall, I think it's a good design. It's not blowing me away, but no, it's slightly better than... Oh no, let's look at the rear. What's going on there? Why is this just dark? I think this is a missed opportunity. I wanted to see some more color highlights there, some like nice reds, nice oranges and stuff. That's missing. This just seems dark. It seems hollow. That's a shame. That's a shame. The front is looking way more interesting than the rear. Can you just put some in there? Just put some in there. You can have green taillights. Just put them in there. They will be fine. People will start driving when they see you. And of course, number plate. Can we have number plate here, please? As well. Maybe slightly more down so that it is not like their little number plate. Hello. Now I'm a smiley car. Okay. That's something I expected to be there. I very much like the lower rear though. This is beautifully done. So what do we make of this? Front is good. Front is a 7. Overall, this side front, that's easy 7.5 maybe. But the rear pulls it down. I think this, but not by much because the lower rear is so good and I like the wing as well. So I'm going to say this is 7. So now the image. Well, you sure know how to work with color contrasts, don't you? Very bluish image, but golden fucking car. Are you shitting me, son? That's a good choice for the era, I would think, and it certainly works in the image. I very much like the scene you have chosen for it as well, because of the reflections, the beautiful reflections you get here. That's very cool. So, lighting good. Setup? Maybe a little uninspired, but it works. So, very solid setup, but nothing fantastic. Not one of your high-end movement shots that made you win one of the... Was it a win? I think it was. Let me scroll back. Oh yeah, it was the second one where you won. That had such nice movement in there. But yeah, this is quite static. It's not necessarily bad, but makes it a little harder to get the wow factor. So yeah, overall this is really good. Lighting is spot on for what you're trying to do. Some nice highlights going on. Not much you can do better. It's just a little on the boring side. Very well executed, but a little on the boring side. So let's say that's a 6. And here we have the Storminator. Hello, Storminator. We have a car here that is brown. Is it brown? Yeah, it is brown. Okay, the scene is brown too. I don't know what to make of this. It's just a color. Okay, so design. Nice thick line all around the car that kind of nicely shows. I like the double lining you used here. This is quite cool. Good framing. Oh, you even have the turbo in there. Like turbo written right there. And then you have the Deimos in there. Good choice. I'm not sure I like this one there. Could have been a bit more subtle. And double stack of headlights. So daylights and headlights pop-up version there. A bit of a boxy design at front. I think I like this. Very error correct, it seems. The hood scoop here is slightly odd, but it fits the car overall. That there is some, like the front, it kind of feels like there should be some odd element in there, and I think you achieve that. So while the car first didn't pop for me, I think I like the design overall. It's good. The double lining and the badging, the front is good but odd, and the only thing that I can really point out as I don't like it is this, and then I would also say like this is questionable at least. Otherwise, I'm quite a fan. So what does that make it? At least a 6. 6.5. So now for the image. You did get the blur direction correct. And the focus is nicely on the car, while you can still see some detail in the background. But you can see no real outlook or where the car is coming from. Can see neither of these two things, and very, very close for that to the corner of the image in both directions. Not entirely sure if I like the composition in general, because this leaves so much stuff here which is just not really used. And then you have some very interesting elements like this top part here. That has such an interesting look to it, with the slightly blurred, slightly misty rocks. In the distance, some trees or bushes. That's really cool, but I'm not that into this part. That's a shame, because it's kind of where two of the main focus points are sitting. Because you have, but it's not quite there, but goes around around there and slightly too far, but around there and there you have the 2 of the 4 main golden ratios in the image, so the eye is naturally drawn to there, and this one is certainly not being used for anything constructive. Doesn't have to be, don't get me wrong, doesn't have to be. Not every image has to be composed the same way according to some set rules, but this feels off balance, and I think it is because of that, because there's really nothing to counterbalance that the image feels super heavy this way. I think a lower angle would have worked really well for this one. Slightly lower angle so that you see less of this, because the road is slightly higher, isn't it? And then you have more of the background here, because you will be seeing more into this direction. But anyway, I'm rambling on now for how to potentially improve the image where I can't really tell. Lighting overall, really good though. It's brownish, which I don't quite like. I think you make it work. So despite its flaws of composition, I think, or without the flaws in composition, I think this would be a 7.5, or maybe even get to an 8 if, no, not an 8. The choice of color is weird for that. I think with the flaws, it's still a 7. So let's put that in there. Well done. And the next entry is by Smithy. And we have a very orange car. Okay. Not necessarily a fan of it on first sight. Looks like an orange bubble. And the front pop-up headlights here, I believe. So that makes sense. Having a double stack there certainly works. Racing stripes down the middle. Not giving you any extra horsepower. Not fooling anyone, really. Yeah, kind of an interesting touch. Are these in vanilla automation? Can you make that? Let's assume you can. So yeah, okay. Badging doesn't really stick out. It's a shame because I think you're the guy who always puts loads of effort into that. Nice line down here at the side. I quite like that. And everything else seems to be in place. But it's not really captivating, is it? I think the front is what's causing it. Not a fan. Can't really put my finger on what it is, but it seems very basic. While the sides are looking really good. So this is an odd one. But yeah, I just can't warm to the front. It doesn't have a good look to me. A bit like an angry whale. So yeah, okay, I call it. It's a 4.5. Not really warming to the front. I don't like the look of it. Seems to be fine, the rest of it, but nothing that really pushes it up as much as would be required to make up for that. Now, the image itself. You found an interesting spot to take the photo. I like the setup here. It's like the hidden photographer trying to get a sneak peek on the new cars driving by that are tested on the Isle of Skye. But they're great dicks in the sky. Not so much, but it's just a boring sky. I don't mean that the balancing or anything is off here. It's kind of missing the point of the great dick in the sky. So no, you don't have great dick in the sky issue. You have boring, empty sky issues. The color differential between this car and the surroundings is very harsh. It looks like a cartoon in that sense. It's a bit too much. I think the color could have been chosen a bit more wisely. Maybe a red color would have worked better. Let's try that out. Okay, so let's pull this over here and just pull the oranges to red. Yeah, almost works. No, that was not something we want to do. Oh, there's a little bit of a two-tone effect going on here. No, not that. Not that, but yeah. A red car does work better, especially if you now reduce the saturation a bit. because that one was way over the top. And also think of, like, this should be now red. Also, it's a little, let me correct that. It's a little too pinkish looking now. Okay, yeah, that color is less in your face than this one in the scene. Of course, if you tone it down a bit more, which I couldn't really do with the settings in that little amount of time and low effort, this is sticking out a little too much in the scene. Also, it gives the whole scene a bit of a weird tint. Not sure if I like that. Interesting location, good direction, you're telling a bit of a story, but the rest of the scene is suboptimal. I really like the setup you have up to there, like the lower part of it. Let's max it out again. The lower part of it. This is quite nice, and then this lets us down a bit. And the car quite small in the frame. Would have liked to see it a bit more zoomed in. I think you're getting the same score again for the picture itself. Also 4.5. Oh, is it solid? I like the setup. No, you get a 5 because I like the setup. There's some creativity in there, so you get a bit of a bonus. I like the sentiment you try to achieve in this. This is cool. Trying to tell a story. And here we have the Deimos by Zoca, and we shall take a look. There is design-wise. Let's see. Oh, I like the morphings you did. That is an interesting one. I quite like the shape you created here. Pop-up headlights, yeah, standard there. This is looking solid, fits. Number plate, that place fits. Badging, yeah, good. Line running across the car like this. Not sure if that is baked into the car. Probably is. Or is it? Do you put that there manually? Not sure. Anyway, this is looking good. It's the two-tone separation. And you seem to have a bit of a two-tone separation too. Blinker there, yeah, fine. Turbo, massive turbo badging. It's very 80s, but I don't know if that is overdoing it. In different lighting conditions, this might look very odd. Otherwise, the car is very straightforward. I think it's solid. I mean, there's not much to really complain about, but it's not great either. Has some sunroofing going on and rear wing, and overall, yeah, it's solid. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, it's looking intriguing, despite its simplicity. It's very simple. Like, this is a very straightforward design. It's not a design where I would think, oh, this is made by a very long-term automation player who has spent loads of time designing different cars. This doesn't give the impression of it. It doesn't have to. But there's just this little extra something is missing. That's what I'm wanting to say here. Not that, oh, you're a noob, you suck. Well, that too. No, not really. I think it's slightly better than just a 5. Let's give it a 5.5. The image, though. The composition. Your car is pointing that way, and you leave no space here, no breathing room, while you have lots of stuff going on here, highlights and everything, which the eye is drawn to, and there's really nothing to see there, apart from the turbo badging, maybe on the periphery of sight when you're looking into the void. Yeah, not necessarily a fan of your placement or the framing of the car. Attitude here is good, and you're not trying to make the car look like it's moving, so it doesn't matter as much that it's all the way at the side here. But let's see what difference it makes. Alright, this seems to have worked reasonably well. So now we can ignore the big molehead here and re-crop it. There we have. Oh, come on. Come on, just move it. Yes. Alright, here we go. So that has, in my opinion, a better base composition. It's more, the car looks more central here, but what the biggest difference is that there's more breathing room here. This part doesn't quite pull as much attention away. And also the direction comes through a bit better because the starting movement direction of the image is further to the diagonal of the image. So you can draw through the diagonal here and you have pretty much lined up the entire movement, in air quotes, of the image. So I think this would have been the better composition. Gives a nicer feel for the landscape too. I'm not too worried about the overblown sky or anything. Nice detail in the background of the canyons and so on. Overall, that's pretty good. Like, this is pretty good. I like the weird color. This, look at how much difference that makes. This looks like someone took a photo of the car and missed it because he was blinded by the sun. It's like, let's point somewhere, and then it wasn't perfectly framed. It's just slightly off. Like you bite yourself in the butt for it. Has happened to me. But not the butt biting, but the rest. Yeah, okay. It's interesting. Color is nice. It's very grainy. I don't like that effect. Very, very grainy. So overall, what do we give you? Is it a 5? No, it's slightly less. 4.5? No, it's a 5. Oh, looks like we have another 4K shot. This is by S31. Let's zoom right in. And we have very high definition grass. But let's look at the design. Not that much I can... Wait a second, am I... No, I'm in the wrong mode. Alright, here we go. That's the car. Here's the car. You see it? Yes. It's very stretched in this direction because of the super wide angle. That's usually not a good choice in these images. But I have to say, this part of the image looks pretty awesome. So, okay, thanks for that, but that's not the point. So design. I like the 4-stripe design you have going there. And it definitely has pop-up headlights, but I don't know, what the fuck is this? These massive blinkers or something? That looks odd. Yeah, not sure. Otherwise, I can't really tell anything. It's just like, okay, you have a 4-stripe design, and then there are some slits for headlights there, and then pop-up headlights, and then something is going on there, which I can't explain. Let's open the archives and take a look. Mulder and Scully are on the case. And, yeah. What to say about this car? It's very hard to judge, that's for sure. I think this is... I quite like this front. And a little Transformer-esque almost. How many M's do I have to spend before we can calculate a score? I think 5 more. No, let's give it a 5. Yes, okay, let's say 5 because it has some cool elements and I can't really tell the rest. So let's give you a middling score. Okay, now the image. Lighting, quite nice. Perspective, completely wrong for the purpose of the image. That is not how you make good car images. Not in this instance, at least. There are ways to use super wide angle shots for like action shots, but this doesn't look like action at all. It's just a car standing there with very, very beautifully lit grass and beautiful. That is such good tonalities in here for the ridges in the background and everything, and the grass just perfectly exposed. But that's not the point of the image. So landscape shot, this is an... If you crop it differently and remove this fucking car, which is just in the way, this is quite good. But for a car shot, yeah, I mean, lighting is good. The only upside here for this is the reflections. They are fantastic in there. Really nice. The rest, the sky is really nice too. I can't even see the fucking car. Like, how am I supposed to judge this? It's just a wedge. It's a massive wedge that doesn't drive forwards because it's standing still. Lack of speed. I think the greatness was in this image somewhere. I think there was greatness in here. You could have made this into something that is absolutely stunning. But I can't see that in here. Oh well, I can see what I would do with it, but let's leave that for another time or something. Okay. This is a... Let's give it a 5, because it has such beautiful shit in there. And then the car image itself is like a 3 or something. No, a little bit better. 3.5, 4, maybe, max. That's stretching it. But this is like, holy shit, the lighting is an 8 or 9 or something. Okay, so let's give you a 5 there too. And it is the last car of the entire competition. It is by MGR 99. Let's have a look. What did you do with your layering of various shots? Lighting is slightly off, I can see, but not nearly as egregious as in your previous attempts. I think your first one or second attempt was still the best, but this one is pretty good. You can see that the light, the color, the hue of the light that is remaining is somehow wrong, but the lighting itself, like the amount of light on the car in its various parts is spot on. But anyway, design. Well, what do you expect from MGR 99? I only expect very good designs, and I think we have one right here. This is... oh, very good? Nah. No, yeah, I think so. I think so. This all fits nicely into it. I like the sides, maybe overdoing it slightly with the vents. Ah, but they would have to go that way. Maybe they're going all the way to the end of the door. Maybe cutting them a little shorter might have worked. They seem overburdening here at the sides. Also, I'm not sure if you would be using a round indicator there. I see you also have, of course, a round fuel tank inlet, but everything else in here is kind of squarish, so this seems like an odd choice. The only other round things you have in the taillights, which you can't see at the same time, really. But rear, looking solid. This is looking a bit more 90s, doesn't it? Maybe that's wrong. Like, maybe I'm wrong. This car overall looks a bit more 90s than it looks 80s to me. Not sure if I'm right about that. But yes, it's a good design. Is it a good design? Yeah, definitely a good design. Is it more than a good design? It all fits together so well. Does it fit in the era? I think it's looking slightly too modern. I'm hesitant to give it more than a 6.5 because of that. Yeah, something feels off here. So, 6.5 it is. So now for the image. Compositing is the trick. So taking the same exact image at different exposures and different light settings and so on, and then compositing them in. So it's not using illegal data, so to say, is within the rules. After he created the first instance of that, and I said this is within the spirit of the rules. And yes, this gives you the ability to choose your lighting for each part of the frame. That can work well and can backfire. And where it backfired here is the hue of the light. Look at how orange this is. Look at how cold, or rather neutral, the lighting is on the cars itself. You can see that it's not this light. It's not a reflection of this light either. So this makes it look slightly off, as if they are somewhat pasted in the image, into the image, which they actually are, but it's not supposed to look that way. So I think you almost hit the mark here, but not quite. I love the composition of the road, and the placement of the cars is good too. I think ever so slightly could you have shifted it down so that there's slightly more room here and slightly less room there, but not by much. Maybe if I draw it out, like the distance would be something like this, small. Something like really small, like this much. I know I'm extremely picky about these things. After more than a decade just sifting through images from photography and trying to optimize compositions, my own, I got quite picky with these things. So yes, overall pretty good. Pretty good. Slight fail there on the lighting, and I think that drags you down by a full point. If you had nailed the lighting here, this would be a 7.5. But it isn't. So I think you get a 6.5 for this too, for an almost very good attempt. And we do have a winner. And who expected it? Me. All the hands go up. Me. Oh yes, the odds of winning that bet were really in favor of Esdem, and he delivered. So 7.5 for the design, from what we can see here. The back is just fantastic, and an 8 for the image. Yeah, couldn't be stopped, really. What was his worst scores? Did he produce anything that was... Holy shit. This is his worst score. This is his worst score. It's tying with the second round, with the Callisto. 7.5 and 8. Yeah, that's solid, mate. It's really solid. Only Omae was able to beat him once. Okay, that is a beautiful image. So, we have first place, Esdem, throughout the competition, overall first. And then, for today's video, let's see, competition, the Deimos, we do have one score that is 13.5. So that was a 15.5 here, 13.5. Let me bring it up. That is something I did not expect. This is an image I really warmed to, looking at it more and more. It's a very good design, and or almost very good design, and the photo just works despite its flaws. So yeah, Storminator, Storminator, taking second place with the 13.5, and then we have a big tie. Cake Ape and Leslo Angelo, Moon, and MGR99, all with reaching 13 points in different ways, but 13 points they did get. So a big shared third place for all of them. And now on screen, I'm going to put up all the scores from the competition. And I have to say, this was a lot of fun. And despite the big drop off in viewership, I quite enjoyed getting through all these. And I hope those who remained really enjoyed the journey as well, despite my very frequent ams and ums. But this is all basically uncut and live. Of course, cutting out some of the pauses for loading new images and so on, but yes. Anyway, that was a pretty cool competition, very nice designs on display, and some excellent shots. And to Esdem, I do want to have this image in 4K as well. And with that, we are wrapping up the Logitech Sports photo and design competition, because Lite Campaign V4.0 is hitting soon, and we don't have time to continue designing these cars. But I assure you, we are going to do something community interaction related with the next Automation Let's Play. That for sure is coming. Alright, I hope you enjoyed, and I see you guys next time.